The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is a realistic approach for load test scenario design. And our guest speaker today is Rupesh Kumar Garg. He is the Senior Manager with Wipro. Rupesh is working as Senior Manager with Wipro Technologies, and he has about 14 years of diverse technical and management experience in serving various US-based customers in financial services, insurance, and manufacturing domain. His area of expertise includes performance testing, management, automation testing, cloud-based testing solutions, and test innovation. He has provided significant leadership experience in managing IT projects with an emphasis on quality control and software testing. He holds a Master of Science, Oklahoma State University, USA, and a bachelor's degree from Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, India. He is PMP and ITIL Foundation certified. Also, he has completed executive management programs from IAMC and Harvard University. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Rupesh.
Yeah, thank you, Anuradha. Thank you. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, from wherever you're taking this call. So today we are coming with an interesting lecture, which is on the load testing exercise. I'm not sure how many of you have been on the previous lectures, into which we more delve deeper into what is the future of software testing, what are different things which are impacting the software testing industry. So today we are going to get deeper into how load testing is one of the important topics, load testing area designing for the load testing exercise. I'm hopeful that the audience on the phone is having somewhat of acquaintance with the load testing basics, and at least it's not too much of detail, So what is the topic today? The topic is today, that we keep on getting into this issue that I have to design my load test. What do I do? Should I go and talk to my BA? Should I go and talk to my my business? Should I go and talk to my production support team? Whom do I talk to? So there are several issues, right? In each approach, if I go and talk to my BA, he or she will give their own numbers. If I go and talk to production support team, they become overly defensive because they sound like they feel like you're going to give them a lot of work. And then if you talk to your business folks, they say the application should be good enough. I don't care what is the response time. I should like it. So what is the meaning of liking? Is there any way of defining this feeling of liking? Obviously not. Like you and me, if somebody says how fast the Google should be, you will say the fastest possible, right? So there's no way of judging it that way, right? So eventually, this approach which I'm proposing over here is definitely only for the applications which have been already into production, right? There have been cases where there is no production deployment. For those kind of things, this approach might not work. But let's have a look at it, and I'm sure it's definitely going to help you guys in your real life situation also. So what is we are trying to explore today over here? Let me, I think, get started with the basics of the load testing. What is the load testing exercise? Number one, introduction. Load testing is basically putting a demand on a system or device and measuring its response. Load testing is performed to determine the system's behavior and then both normal and peak load conditions, right? So it's basically exercise to make sure that your application in the production is working fine, right? So now there are different kind of load tests, which we do. Let's say, the goals of load testing, finding the matrices of the system under high load, exposing bugs which might not show up in the function testing, the feature testing or the custom testing, all this stuff. Ensuring that meets performance baseline. So some of you must have heard that some of the biggest disasters happen in the military, right? So why it is so crucial in the load testing? Like one of it not only impacts your revenue, but it impacts your business reputation also. If you end up having a right load test application, if application goes down in the production, it will have a huge impact on your reputation also. In fact, we had done a study also some time back in which we showed that the cost of defect in the production. You must have heard about, not sure how many of you heard, the cost of defect in the production is about $14,000 versus $70 in the requirement stage. So you can see that as you move from one stage to the next one, the cost of defect is very high as we traverse further. Types of load testing. Let's have a little bit of look at what kind of load testing exercises are available. Number one, performance testing. Number two, capacity testing. Number three, stress testing. Number four, volume testing. Number five, endurance testing. So all of them have its own purpose, even though not that all of them will be utilized in each project, right? And then it can basically, what is the load testing? Again, it's the process of finding the bottleneck, right? So stress testing, how do you define it? The purpose of basically, you stress test an application to find the limit, the capacity limit of the exercise, right? And then also you will be, making sure that, you will be checking when the application crashes, right? That is where you are able to understand that this application easily handle the load or not, right? And then volume testing. Volume testing is not meant to with the number of users, but it is always, some kind of website in which you do like SharePoint website or some kind of, Google Docs website. So you will upload and download documents. You might not be having huge number of users, but you will have huge number of volume being processed. It's more or less like the amount of volume you process in a bad job, right? In a bad job, you process a lot more high volume as compared to normal testing, right? Endurance testing, this is more like a soak testing. Soak testing is basically done on with the regular user load over a very high duration. Means like you might want to do it for the whole weekend. You might do it for maybe 36 or 48 hours, right? So that is where you will do for a long time as compared to normal load test, which might be 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, right? So what are things we have repeated till now? Let me just recap again. We looked at what is the definition of load testing. We looked at what are the goals of the load testing. Then we looked at what are types of the load testing, right? Then I defined, what is the meaning of stress testing. Then I defined what is the meaning of volume testing. Then I defined what is the meaning of endurance testing, right? And then let's, that is the basic definition of, the performance testing which I wanted to bring you guys on board. Now, getting further into a detail, let's have a look at how a regular load testing exercise happens, right? And so we need to have a little bit of feel of that thing, right? What are things first? You will identify the key scenarios. You will identify the performance acceptance criteria. You will create a workload model. You will identify target load levels. Identify the metrics you want to capture on the service. Then you will design the specific test. Then you run the test and analyze the results. If you see all the activities, which are maybe starting from eventually from here till here, right? All these are all about scenario creation. If your scenario creation exercise has not been correct, what will happen? You will not be able to have the right scenario for an application for which you want to test it. Eventually, if you don't have the right scenario, you will not be testing it in a production like cases. If you're not testing a production like cases, you will not be able to achieve the success which you wanted to achieve, right? So keeping that in mind, key challenges for the workload designer, peak user load, and transactional composition, right? So these are two things, which really define it. And eventually, what are if you look at few things which really should be included in a scenario designing, those are number one. You want to make sure that high frequency transactions are included in your design, scenario design. Number two, mission critical transactions. Mission critical transaction and high frequency transaction are differences. There, the first point focusing heavily on the volume, The second point is focusing heavily on the criticality of the process. It doesn't mean that, it will be high volume, but it will definitely be critical, like fund transfer, like, a conversion of the currency, like postal address subjects, right? If something, there are some issues with those kind of features, then it can be a big problem for any kind of banking application, right? Then read transactions, then update transactions. This is one is read only transaction, then update is at least one update transaction should be included so that performance of transaction can be differentiated from the other transactions, right? So these are the few things which we should keep in mind, right? Then solutions. So let's look at, these are a few things which should be kept in mind. So what is the solution into our project which we keep up with? We basically, what we did was, we designed a framework which was written in Perl script, and we started collecting data on all the servers in the production, right? From a particular application, like we had a lot of Oracle applications and Google applications. We started to collect the data on the production servers. Once we started to collect the data on the production servers, what was happening was that we realized that there was we were able to capture all the data in a centralized warehouse, in a centralized a database kind of thing. From where we were able to extract the data. Now what we were doing was, I'll show the process later on how we were doing. Let me show the output. What we were doing, in a typical time of the day, we were able to get the data for the like 6 a.m. What was the throughput? What was the transaction volume in the system? At 7 a.m. what was the transaction volume in the system? So once you are able to see that in the daytime, only from 3:30 p.m. till maybe 8 p.m. you could see a lot of volume in the server, right? So that was that is how we could shortlist at least a 4-hour window out of maybe a 1 month window where we can 1 month to 3 month window where we can see that a lot of volume is happening, right? So we are able to check that one. I'll show how in the Excel sheet also we were doing that particular exercise later on. So graphically we are able to see that way that which is not. So if you look at this approach, this was a pure play mathematics driven approach. It was a pure play approach which gave us confidence that we are having the production data to analyze, and we are making our transactional volume based on that one, not based on a gut feeling or talking to certain VA and having a casual chit-chat kind of thing. And then if you look at this one, these are the closing weeks and number of transactions in millions, right? In the left hand side on the right, you see access is number of weeks, week 1, 2, 3, like that. So if you see, we are able to zoom down by days also, and then by the particular week also. So which particular week we had maximum transactions in the system, right? If you look at the, this is week 1, this is week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8, week 9, week 10, right? That way, these are in a particular quarter, you're looking at 10 to 12 weeks window. Then you're able to see particular time where there is a lot of transaction happening in the system, right? Then you're able to zoom in further. Once you're able to see that what is the total transaction volume, then I'll show that how we were able to zoom in down to each transaction level also, right? If you look at scenario flow for a realistic approach for locus, into which what we did was that, with our custom shell scripts written, we collect the data on the business transaction, we collect the data on the concurrent job, we collect the data on the stat pack reports, we collect on DB1, DB2 and others. Then we kept everything in a centralized capacity warehouse, from where we kind of, took aggregated data and then converted that into MS Excel. So what was our approach was? Our approach was very simple, our approach was simply, basically with the help of our Perl scripts, collecting the data from, from one of the servers on the server 1, server 2, and then using stat pack. Stat pack was you must have heard in the Oracle. You can collect data with the help of stat pack, right? With the help of that one, we were able to collect a lot of information that what is being kept over there. So with that, keeping that in mind, we were able to get like AWR report, right? Into that one, you are able to see that how much is the information over there available for each particular SQL query, how much is what are the number of deadlocks and all that stuff, right? So that way, we were able to get a lot of information, and it even gave us a complete performance monitoring and reporting utility information, right? which gave us even information on the object usage statistics, resource intensity, skill statements, and all of that. And then another key ingredient we kept in mind was that we had to get the information about the Oracle application with something called a concurrent program / job, right, which also runs. When we were running those ones, we worked on collecting information about how many concurrent jobs are running in the real time, right? So once you have that information, it's basically equivalent to that job, but they call it concurrent jobs, right? So we were able to get all the information in the feed it into the central database, and from there we were able to get information something like this. If you look at the summary of data collection, what we were doing, we were collecting this transaction quarter on quarter, year on year. We are able to see how much growth is happening in the business transaction. Then if you see the concurrent jobs, you are able to see how much growth is happening. Like if you see in the first one, business transaction growth happened negative in the particular quarter. But year in year, last year as compared to last year, the quarter has grown. But as compared to this year, you are able to see, that it is negative. Concurrent jobs, you are able to see positive growth in both sides. Active sessions, you are able to see 15% and then 41%. Processes same, you are able to see 16% to 36%. And then same way transactions per second, you are able to see 49%, and then here you are able to see 52%. Here you are able to see redo activity, and here we are able to see redo on the database system. TPS, right? TPS is very, very important. In our low test exercise, we use the transaction per second in several places. We are able to see, like I was telling in the previous slide, read and write both are important to understand how the growth happening over there. We're able to see how many writes are happening in the quarter, how many reads are happening. Then we are able to see also average CPU utilization and maximum CPU utilization also. Average memory utilization also and maximum memory utilization. So if you look at it, whatever information nutshell you need to design a particular low test scenario, you were able to have that information in your hand. So how did we do it? Let me show you in a small Excel sheet format also. What we did was it was like a monitoring framework you can say, which was taken in the in some steps. From there we're capturing all the data, right? If you look at it, it was giving average, maximum standard deviations, 2 percentile, 80%, 90 percentile, 50, 95 percentile. So percentile, I'm sure you guys must be aware. Let me just give you again a question. Percentile is basically like 80% is not 80%. Okay, 80th percentile means that 80% of the people, the data collection was below this 9061 exercise, right? If you see collection hour. So how it is doing? It was collecting data, every allocated window, right? If you look at it, minute by minute, it is capturing data. So what it is capturing? It is capturing total transaction, concurrent job submitted, total processes, total sessions, total active sessions, total TCMs. Even further, there is more data over here, right? So in the CPU, it is collecting CPU average, weight, IQ, max, right? It is eventually capturing most of the data in a sequential manner so that you have a track over there. So what we're doing is we are keeping, it's like a real time data collection happening in the server. So total transaction means all the transactions which are happening from the website angle. Concurrent jobs means only from the batch job angle. Total processes means all the processes which are getting submitted. Sessions means active sessions open on the server, and total active sessions open over here. And then if you look at CPU, the cycle is showing CPU max, it is showing CPU average, it is showing weight IQ underscore max also, it is showing weight IQ underscore average. So these are the few things we are able to see over there, right? Now the way we were collecting the data, now we have the data in Excel sheet, right? It's a lot of raw data, right? It's not a final data. It's eventually only a supplementary data which is helping you. Now we want to go further, right? We want to tell people that what are the 3 to 4 major hours. So now the data has been collected for the whole quarter, right? Now we need to select 3 to 4 major spots where you see the volume, the transaction volume was high. After that is high, you will be eventually basically working further and further onto collecting data in the central database, and then seeing that maybe there are 3 spots, 3 hours where you right, the values are pretty much close by, then we will be going back to a platform architect, which will be, the role of platform architect as compared to performance architect was, the platform architect was responsible for the wholesale technical deployment of the application, while the performance architect was only responsible for the performance part of the application, that is from the testing. But platform architect will be involved in the end-to-end ownership of the product from a deployment effort. Okay. So once we had done that way, we were able to gain a very, very deeper level confidence that what are the top slots. Once we have those, like if you see highlighted values in the red are max values, this one, are very different, right? So now you have 3 slots or 3, points per hour where you are seeing a lot of high traffic. Now you want to go further and then maybe, select one of them and make it as a final point that this is what this, let's say, the selected hour is 2011 12 9 12, right? 21 12. So that is the whole transaction volume, all the concurrent jobs, the total processes, everything will be taken from that particular moment, because that will become our now basis for defining the load test for the coming activity, right? Load test scenario. Because the struggle remains is that we don't know what is the load test scenario design. If we don't understand what are real data will be punched in, then we have a tough time, right? In that sense, we have sorted out our issues, right? So this was one of the important aspects. Few other aspects. Let me bring it over here, which I wanted to tell you guys also, so that we have more awareness on this aspect. See, once we are collecting all the data, eventually we are getting everything into a centralized database, and we are taking in output into Excel sheet. From the Excel sheet, we are putting a lot of filters. From the filters, we are finally able to select a balance server, right? And then we are taking one important point to keep in this exercise first, and we took a lot of help from the stats pack. So stats pack, I'd like us, telling before that this is performance monitoring and reporting, which will be provided by the Oracle, starting from Oracle API. From where we were capturing all the gate events, we were capturing time model, we were capturing active session history and all this stuff. A lot of stuff we were collecting in the hand, which was giving us a lot of confidence. And apart from that, we were capturing in a small database information about CPU utilization, network bandwidth, and temperature of the servers, which are helping us to gain control over that kind of information also, right? Because if at a certain point of time, if the CPU utilization is very, very high, then we definitely want to make sure that that particular hour is, is brought into due attention, and we are looking at why the CPU utilization was very high at that particular time. Or if at one particular time, database reads and writes are very, very high, we want to definitely bring in attention to that point that why the reads and writes are so very high, right? So these are a few things which I think were very, very important, to define the right load test scenario for it. Even though designing this kind of platform initially might take for some time, because it's a customizable platform. And to develop this platform, you need to first, develop certain scripts. Either you can write in any language, or you develop in a shell script platform, or use certain kind of parsing mechanism which helps the Perl or C language, and then take an output into Excel sheet. Yeah, that investment will remain to be there. But once you have stabilized your process of capturing the data, storing in the central database, and then taking the output into Excel sheet, and then helping you to define a balanced load test scenario, it will go a long way. And like in my experience, I saw that in the first year it had a lot of issues. But after first year, even though we had put 1 to 2 developers on the job to develop that framework, but once that was stabilized, it was very quick. It was eventually it's so fast that anybody could do it, because it was right. Eventually, an automated mechanism of collecting data with the help of probes on the server, and then storing it into a certain kind of central server capacity warehouse. So that is what we were doing. I think let me give a recap again before I open the session for the discussion. Just 1 minute. Let me I can give a 5-minute recap for me. You can then open points for discussion. So I'm basically eventually let me just give you one. First of all, we discussed what is the introduction to the load testing. What is the purpose of it. Then we discussed what are goals for the load testing, right? Then we found what are different types of load testing we do. We do performance testing, we do capacity testing, we do stress testing, we do volume testing, we do endurance. One of the points to keep in this mind is that in all this kind of load tests, we are finding that we are not placing ourselves uniquely over there. Means in those exercises, we are finding that we are not in the load test exercise, we are not uniquely placing ourselves. So our scenario definition is not being correct. After that, we had done even the stress testing. We had looked at what is the definition of stress testing, what is the definition of volume testing, which is more not from the user load, but more from loading data onto the database of the target application. And then endurance testing, which is more like soak testing, running it for a very, very long time on the databases and all that stuff. Then we looked at what is the approach to done a load test, right? Where the scenario creation plays a very, very important role. And then we looked at what are the few things which are very, very important from inclusion in the load test scenario, like for example, high frequency transaction, mission critical transaction, read transaction, and update transaction. Then I showed you guys in one of the outputs, the final outputs which we get out of the module, that how we are able to see the peak hours. We are able to see 2 to 3 hours window where we can see a lot of highest level of inactivity happening in the database. Right? Then I was talking about, again, we are seeing on the peak hour maybe weekly basis. I showed you guys a framework for which we utilize, and some of the sample data collection exercise, like for example, what are things to be collected in any kind of data collection exercise. Number one, we collect the total number of transactions. We should also understand what are concurrent jobs to be submitted in case of like Oracle applications. We should also collect what are total number of sessions, total number of active sessions, those kind of things. A lot of things we need to be done. Right? So then, and also finally on the server side, you should understand how much CPU is getting utilized, how much read input output happening and all that stuff, right? Like we are showing over here. The final eventual output of the whole exercise is this one, right? We are able to see business transactions are growing, not growing quarter on quarter, but concurrent jobs are growing, active sessions are growing on the server, processes are growing, transaction per second are growing, redos are growing, that we are able to see apple to apple comparison. So that is something I think we should, which is a net output of the whole exercise, right? So with that being said, I think, that is a major point I wanted to bring in focus today. I think we can now open the session for the questions. I'm sure people will definitely have many interesting questions on today's topic also. Like we had most of the time, we run out of our time to do the questions part. So I thought today I'll keep 10 minutes extra, give a little extra time to the audience to ask questions.
Thanks for the insightful presentation, Rupesh. As you have just mentioned, let's quickly take up the questions now. I request you to read out the questions and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insights. Are you able to see the questions in your question doc?
Yes, I can see it. Let me undock it. Okay, I can see I got one question from Nikhil Asia. How can we apply load testing in load testing cloud computing? Azure, what is the measurement of load testing in such cloud computing platforms, fast cloud computing platforms? Yeah, see, Vipul, the fundamentals remain the same. Even though whether you test it on Azure or whether you test it on GPU or any other cloud infrastructure also, right? In case you want to know more on how to utilize cloud for load testing exercise, I have delivered one lecture, I think 2 lectures on TechGig only. If you put in Google, you will be able to find those sessions by me also. I think one I just gave in March 2012, one I had given about 2 years back. So you can even go those ones. I hope, Nipul, does it answer your question or something else? Let me repeat again. How can we apply load testing cloud computing, that is Azure? What will your measurement of load testing in such? Yeah, right. Nothing else changes over there. It's eventually, even if you're putting application live on Azure platform, it's eventually the same code base, right? It's only thing it has to move off to the cloud for a reason of cost cutting and faster deployment, right? Okay, now let's go to the next question. How can we do, okay, so Jeet Kumar Singh, how can we do client-side performance testing? Okay, very interesting question. even though it's not relevant to today's session. I think there are Sujit, there are 2-3 tools which have come out in the market which will definitely help you. In fact, I'm not able to recall the name of those tools. I might have to expose my hard disk to you guys. Let me just open it. So there are 2 tools which have come out in the market from where you can do client-side performance testing. Not performance testing, I would say. Eventually, the performance testing work will remain to be the same. But eventually you will be just 1 minute. I'm sorry. Okay. There are 2 tools which are quite popularized. Workload, yes, that was the name of the tool. So Workload is one of the name of the tool which you can refer for a client-side monitoring. Client-side like for the application like Ajax, which internet applications and all that stuff. Workload is very, very effective tool that you can very easily use. Then there is one more tool also. I wanted to bring it to your attention, but I think I'll have to check it. I'll have to check that. I'm not even finding it quickly over here for you. Okay, let's connect. This holds good application running in production, but for new application, how we create a realistic load test. Okay, very good. This is what I gave a disclaimer in start of the session that somehow this session, this approach is only for applications which are actually in the production right now. If you talk about non-production application, yeah, I'm sorry, it will not fly over there. So definitely we have to think of a traditional approach into which we reach out to development team, we reach out to architect, platform architect, overall enterprise architect of the product. We reach out to more, those kind of people and then solve the issue. Okay. What is the need of doing load testing? Maharudra Lindu. Need of doing load testing that I told it. If you see, I try to in fact cover up that basic part also in my deck also. If you see, I have told introduction, why to do load testing, what are goals of it, types of it, these are things. But if you have this primitive question, maybe you can just reach out to any, go to Google and just find why to do load testing. In fact, I had a very beautiful slide for you guys where I wanted to show you guys. Just have it. Let me see if I can find it for you. I think we presented over here on TechGig only this lecture also, actually part of that lecture. The cost of different. See, like if you look into it, some of the incidents happened, where we wanted to look at why to do software testing and why to do performance testing. Like lack of software testing led to World War III. Well, almost that feeling status. So there was, many times in between there was certain misunderstandings would have developed between different powerful nations that could have led to World War III. That is one of the issues could have been caused by software, defects. Lack of software testing almost killed 28 US soldiers in the Gulf War. Lack of software testing led to US blackout of 2020. Huge social cost of the software failure. So, there are like some important things which why the testing needs to be done and why load testing is also important. And in fact, I would have more information also for you guys. Next time I'll try to produce that information also. Okay, let's go back. What are different rank tools for different types of Abhiram Radhakrishnan? The question is, what are different tools for different types of load testing? Okay. So there are no different tools for different types of load testing. All the tools, you can use the same tool pretty much for everything. Like you can use neo load, you can use load and you can use unit, you can use all of these tools. Okay. How do you plan for performance testing in agile delivery model? Okay, Arun Shanmugam. Okay. Yeah, Arun, very good question. I think even this could have been an independent topic of the lecture. But how we could have planned for the agile based performance testing. Agile-based performance testing is definitely a lot more challenging, and you got to be a lot more nimble in your exercise. But bottom line is, see, the performance testing remains same. Only thing that happens in the agile-based performance testing, that you have very little time away, like 2 weeks or 2 to 3 weeks window for the whole load testing exercise to carried out. Many times even for the scripting, the window is also embedded into that. It means like you have to create scripts, you have to create test data, you have to create scenarios, you have to load the scripts, you have to run a load test, you have to capture data on the network servers, you have to then make a report, you have to present the report, then you have to get stakeholder buy-in also. So that way it makes it very challenging. But yeah, in that case you definitely need to have more skilled resources. You obviously cannot go with very junior resources in your team, or even if you yourself don't have much skill, then it can be a huge challenge, to deliver. So that is one of the challenges I can see, very immediately, in that one. Okay, and right, I think it's difficult, very difficult now more to explain, than this in this short time. Okay, because I feel that itself, in fact, I had delivered a section within the on the agile performance testing. I'll try to see if I can, cover it over here also. Okay, let me do one thing. Meanwhile, I'll try to, show you. I wanted to show you guys some slide. Not possible now, but we'll find it. Okay, leave it. Okay. So let's answer Arun for you. I think we can discuss maybe offline, or maybe you can just go to Google, you'll definitely find a lot of information. Which framework would be more suitable for mobile load testing? See, Udita, there are a few companies like there's something called the QA Info Tech who have done a fairly good job in the mobile performance testing. There are few other, Wipro also has done some work in the mobile performance testing. Nowadays, a lot of companies are like, we have done one application load testing that we had done for the iOS or for the Apple phones, load testing exercise. Or we have done for a few others also. But definitely, we cannot say that most of the companies do have a capability. And number two, we have tools also available in the market. Primarily, same tools have been enabled for a cloud-based testing also, like a new load or a loader, or I think JME Primer shows has covered with the mobile version of the tool. But you can check it up, But there is no specified framework as such. You say directly. We need to check workstation processor, server processor time. Mahesh, we need to check workstation process or server process time. That I'm not able to mention, but what I can say is like, even if you look at this framework, if you look at this framework, okay. Okay. Here also we are doing the same thing here. If you look at it here, we are checking the process, different processes. We are checking overall number of count of different processes, concurrent jobs. We are checking the CPU utilization, checking the MB utilization, all this stuff, right? We are doing our homework kind of thing, but not sure what is the question. Your question. Okay. And in fact, I wanted to show you guys this one over there.
Rupesh, can you?
Go to one more slide.
Yes. Sorry to interrupt, Rupesh.
Yes.
Yes, I'm really sorry to interrupt. Your voice is not coming properly. Can you please check?
Oh, okay. Is it clear now?
Yeah, it is a little better. Please continue.
Okay. Sure. I'll keep it then next to my, the phone closer to myself. Okay, let me show you guys one small deck I wanted to show you guys, which we had developed.
Okay, sorry Rupesh, again the problem is happening. So when you're speaking, you're starting quite nicely, but then your end of this line just trails off. So can you please have a look on that?
Got it.
Okay.
Sure. I'll definitely. Let me just check. Yeah. So this I wanted to show you guys. Uh, see, if you look at this one, here we are showing that how the retail spending has increased in the market, and some of the data center outages are affecting us. So that is something very crucial data that where we are able to see that if you are able to see what I was trying to say, the point that any retail customer, even if it is down for 1 minute online, it will have a huge impact on their revenues and business reputation. Like for example, Coles.com, Walmart.com, these kind of companies, they might lose 1 to 2 million in 1 to 2 minutes. That is the importance of loss of the revenue which they find. So that is one more point to keep in mind once we are doing this kind of load testing exercises, right? That is the point I wanted to keep. In fact, the information is not masked, otherwise I would have shown you guys a few more interesting data also. Okay. Any other questions? Let me just go back to my question. Okay, somebody, Kabita Bal. Depending on what the count of transactions and load test result appear, I am seeing a difference in count of transactions and IPM scenario. Yeah, that the question is depending on what the count of transactions in load test results appear. I am seeing a difference in count of transactions when I perform the same load test twice. Scenario load test with 50 users ran for an hour to check the transaction response time. Yeah, that will be always there. If you are running the same load test, you will not have the same count again and again, right? The count will vary. If it is varying too much, it means you had maybe too many failures in the load test. Otherwise, normally it's not. So that difference will be there. Normally it's not way too different, but if the one load test had a huge pass rate and second one had a huge failure rate, then definitely the transaction rate will vary. What are the basic workload scenarios which are essential to ensure performance of application, like peak load test, normal? Like this I told now, this I told you in the deck itself, like what are the very basic ones. At least 3 to 4 you should run it. Performance testing, you should do it. Capacity testing, you should do it. Stress testing, you should do it. Stress testing is what? It's like breaking something with a hammer. So you suddenly increase the workload on the system, in a very short time to see if it can sustain that much of stress. Volume testing is a little different. Volume testing is all about testing with a higher volume but a lesser user load. Endurance testing is all about checking on the weekend kind of settings, for a longer duration with a lesser user load. So that is what we should do, right? So these are a few questions I could answer. But since you guys have many interesting questions, I think if you guys check some of the recorded videos also of mine or some other people, you'll be able to get some good stuff onto those ones because many questions are very good. How can we do load testing for client side with the multiple users? See, for client side, I don't think you can do with multiple users. So what you need to do is, you run a simple load test with a regular script written for a adject application, rich internet application, and all that stuff. After that, parallelly you run a tool like Flow or something like that, which will measure the response time on the client side also. Like it will give you a feel how a customer, if 50 people are accessing the website, how they would have felt. That's how you can do it. But I don't think so there is any other way. There is, I think, new protocol also has come with Loader, which is a click and script. Maybe you can try with that one also. Maybe that should help you also. During web load testing, we have to check IS server processes time estimate. Yeah, Mahesh is saying during web load testing, we have to check IS server process. So that you can do with any kind of perform or any other kind of simple monitoring tool. Okay. Load testing for multi-tenant architecture where a lot of people access the same code base and same DB. No, but see, for at least load testing exercise, you need to have some isolation in the environment, right? You cannot say anybody's accessing anytime. So there, at least that time you will need to maintain the isolation for the environment. Right? So, okay, I'm done with the question, at least for the time being, till the point you guys shoot more questions. Anybody has more questions?
Questions are coming in. So we have lots of questions pouring in.
Okay. So let's see more questions. Okay. multi-tenant. Okay, I have answered all of them, at least now. Last question is posted by Amit Gupta at 3:46 p.m.
Rupesh, are you able to see the questions coming into you?
No, I don't see any new question. I got one question, last question at 3:46.
All right. Somehow you're not received the questions. There's a question from Deva Bakchi at 3:38 at my end. So are you able to see that question? That's the last I posted.
3:48 or 3:38?
3:38. Yes.
3:38. I got one question. 3:38. I think I haven't responded to that one. Okay. Oh yeah, there are a lot of questions here. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Just one minute. I'm doing it. Okay. Arun, your question I have responded. Agile delivery performance testing, I have responded that one. Okay, let's go to the next one. How do you plan for performance testing agile delivery model? Arun, I have already responded. You need to check more details on any other open forum, or maybe I'll try to cover up in the coming lectures. Which framework would be more suitable for the mobile load testing? I have responded. Okay, Sumit Arora has an interesting question. If you want to do client-side performance testing with multiple users without any tool, using any tool, then you got to have people meant. The question is from Sumit, if we want to do client-side performance testing with multiple users without any using any tools, then what do we do? See, then there is no other way, man. You need to have that many testers, 30, 50, 100 people who can actually real live access application and then do it, right? There is no other way. What are the network issues coming from? What are the network issues coming from AUT, Raghul Ganeshan? So Raghul Ganeshan, the application network can always have issues. Like once I was doing load testing, then we were generating load from LA and then from Dallas. Then we found that from the Dallas response time was much higher as compared to LA. While the difference should not have been so much because the application was posted within the US. Then later we realized that one of the network cards was having a lot of delays or dropouts. That's why it was causing that kind of issue. So that was the main reason. How do you plan expected load for a new production application going to production? Kaushik Nandan. Nandan, good question. See, there is no straightforward answer I have for you. Only thing I can say is that the way you need to plan for a expected load for a new application is that you need to, maybe talk to your stakeholders, including business, BA folks, your enterprise architects that way, because this methodology cannot work for greenfield applications, right? It is only meant for the applications which are already in the production, right? Is Apache JMeter is best for web application testing? Udit Guha. So yeah, Udita, no, I don't know if it is best or not, but it's one of the most popular tools, and it's, the biggest point is it is an open source tool. So it is giving a lot of benefit to people, right? No money invested in tool like testing. Where do you usually do the load testing? Is that in the production environment? If you do it in another environment, then how would you be able to predict the performance in the production? Jabi Raj, very good question from Jabi Raj. That if you don't do the testing in the production environment, then how you can predict the performance of the production? So that always remains a point of debate, Jabi Raj, in performance testing, because we normally do production in a testing in a scheduled production environment, and not with the production like test scenarios. So that remains an issue. But keeping that in mind, there are certain other technical methodologies have been brought to the table, like capacity planning and other stuff, which helps to make sure that we are getting the right results. But again, it's very debatable. But you have raised a good point. We try to make it as close as production and the local scenario also, but not all the time we are close to that. That's a good point. Depending upon one question by Mr. Bal, depending on what the count of transactions the load test result appear, I am seeing difference in which I have already responded. Can you please, how we use little flaw in load testing? Okay, man, I'm sorry, I forgot what was little flaw, so I have to not able to respond now. I meant, how do we use the concept of little flaw in load testing? Krish. Mr. Krish, I will have to check it up. I cannot see now. During that load testing, we have to check IS server process. That question I have already responded. May I have the difference between capacity testing and endurance testing? Yeah, capacity testing is more aligned towards stress testing. Endurance is more about checking whether application can go for longer time. It's more like a smooth test tool. Okay. But yeah, don't worry. These definitions many times can be very, very confusing. I agree with you. What is the best open source tool for performance testing? Jmeter is one of the very good tools, and OpenST is one of them. Okay. Jobby Raj, what do you use? Okay, we have already responded. Which Sujit Kumar Singh, what are best profiling tools available which we can use along with Loader? See, one tool is called as the HP profiling tool, which they have embedded as part of the HP Loader. Then they have, Dynatrace, they have a couple of other tools available in the market, and then I think they should be available a few other open source also. How do you determine the best possible load test for the code? Is it application diagnostic? No, it's not application diagnostic. The load testing tool needs to be selected based on the requirement, and then your budget also. The Loader has a maximum number of support for the protocol, while as compared to NeoLoad and a couple of other tools don't have that much support, but they're a lot more cheaper. They're a lot more, they come with a lot more better customer support like VSTS, NeoLoad, JMeter, any of those open source. So those tools have their own plus points, but you will have to weigh in all the permutation, combination, the day one itself. How do we do the represent the best performance of case? Okay, let me just go down. Okay, I think we are pretty much done now. I don't see any more questions. Okay, I got one more question. You have an application server. The server has to actually handle 100 hits when the application requests to the server. Server response with only 3 hits. Is it the problem in the server or in the application? Certainly in the server only. Right? So that is done. Okay, that's all on that. I don't see any more questions now. Hello.
Yes, I think, yes, one more question. I'm not sure if you have taken it. Can you please check, Rupesh?
Sure. Let me just see. So what is a good load test tool for RESTful web services? Yeah, RESTful web services, Sachin, maybe you can check SOAP UI, that is, and Load UI. These two tools are quite good fits for RESTful web services. It's, I think, doing research, you should be able to download those tools. Okay, one more question. Caution Vadake. Please explain how hits per second used to design workloads online. So hits per second eventually, it's how many hits, it's not number of active users, but it's based on the hits. So you can always backtrack it, and when you run a load test, you can always see hits per second also, right? In your load test. So that can be also one of your targets, that how many hits per second you want to achieve in particular load test. So that can also help you. Okay, any other questions? Sumit Arora, how we scale down in the hardware requirements when we test in our QoS server estimated model? Yeah, so it's very question. The same I responded before. It's very difficult to scale down. Normally, we kind of believe in a philosophy, whatever people give us, we try to live with it. And then we try to, map it further. So I think that's what I can say. Nothing more I can say right now. It's the same capacity planning issue. Like you have 5 servers in your queue lab, you have 20 servers in production. How will you map it back to that apple to apple, right? That issue remains here. Okay. So Sandeep, I hope this answers, but it's itself a topic. In fact, I'll try to maybe cover up sometimes the topic also. Okay. What would be the ideal cycle to perform the load testing? Sachin Gandhi. Such an ideal cycle to perform the load testing is, we always call it that performance testing should get started from the D1. Means the requirement testing, cycle designing, and all this stuff should happen from day one, not from the last window of the load testing. That is what should be that, it should be very much proactive in nature rather than being reactive in nature. That's the main point. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay, Rupesh, now due to time constraint, I have to ask you to take the unanswered questions offline. There are questions coming in to us. So if you can take the one last question, you can do it now, and then you can sum up the session for today.
So one is, okay, Mahesh, can we check load testing on virtual servers by increasing virtual? Good question. That I have to check it up. But if you put in Google, there are some people who have published papers on something called as performance testing of virtualized servers. That is very, very interesting area. I think you should definitely check in the Google. I don't have an answer for this question. Okay, I think that's all. So yeah, I think that's all from my side. I hope if you found the questions to be, my answers to the questions useful and also the overall question. We'll definitely be connecting again and again with the audience. See if you can always reach out to me on my email also if they have any particular questions in specific. Hello.
Would do that. So anything that you would like to add up to sum up the session?
No, that's all.
All right, and I would like to say I'm thankful to our guest speaker today for conducting this wonderful webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on techgig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Rupesh, for taking the time out and having us. I hope you have a great evening ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.